Welcome to the Defining Moments Black Men series of the Authentic Joe Show. I'm your host, Jolena Johnson, and I'm so pleased to be here with today's guest, Mr. Rodney Weary. How are you today?
Wonderful, wonderful, Jolena. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And I can't wait to get into it. So let's
Let's
do
go.
it.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get
Okay.
it.
Can you tell us a little about yourself, your occupation, and your background?
Well, I got a long background. My name, as you know, Rodney Weary. Married, uh, two kids. Um, let's see. Right now, I am a roof consultant, and so interesting thing. I got into this business because I used to be a general contractor for years back in Chicago. So I built homes, did a lot of Section 8 work, a lot of HUD work, and things like that. And that was my entrepreneurial movement. And so we'll dig further into that. But now I am a roof consultant. I didn't want any employees anymore. I wanted to just be me. Wanted to maximize my dollars. Just wanted to sit in my own office. I did not want to go to an office. I just wanted to be me, make my money, and move in my own beat, if that makes any sense. So that's what I currently do now. So
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
mhm.
How would you describe yourself?
Hmm. Well, wow, that's a good question. It depends on the situation. But overall, I would describe myself as I would say that. Well, how would I describe myself? I would say that I don't really take no in the sense of being challenged and not succeeding at what I set out to do. And let me kind of break that down. So if I'm trying to make something happen or trying to build something or trying to do something and I have these challenges that get in the way, I'm not gonna quit. I may put it on pause for a second, but you best believe I'll come back and finish it. So more, I stay focused on what I have at hand. And doing along the way, I try to keep myself upbeat as much as possible. I try to stay positive thinking, forward thinking, because there's a lot of negativity out here in this world that can definitely bring you down quickly. So, I try to keep myself motivated, stay in tune with God's law, um, and that has gotten me through in a lot of rough and tough situations, just on my journey in life. So, just more upbeat and staying focused in my journey.
Okay. So that kind of goes into my next question, which was if you had to pick a phrase that would describe the theme for your life, what would that be?
A phrase.
Yes.
Ooh, a phrase. Stay focused. Stay focused. Stay prayerful. Never look back.
All right. Well, thank you. That's that's inspiring and motivated right now. I love it. Okay, Rodney. Well, I appreciate that. A lot of people will say, well, what is a defining moment? So let me
Hmm.
explain. A defining moment is a point in life when a pivotal decision must be made or when an experience fundamentally changes a person. What defining moment would you be willing to share with us today?
Um, you know what? The defining moment for me is still defining today, and I can see it as clearly, and I can almost remember the moment, the smells, the clothing, the conversation, the temperature outside. So here's how it went down. I was 16 years old and was playing for one of my baseball coaches at the time, and he had a used appliances delivery store. And we were delivering some washers and dryers to the gentleman's home. And he had about two or three sets, washer and dryer, delivered to his driveway. I'm like, okay. So we delivered to this guy's house, and it comes out in the middle of the day, and he's has slacks, dress shirt, shoes, clean as a whistle. I mean, cufflinks, the whole nine. And I'm looking at this guy like, why are we delivering used washers and dryers to his house? I mean, he's got this huge house. This was actually in Creve Coeur now. And I'm like,
Okay, that's a suburb in the West County of St. Louis, by the way, for those
yes,
of
in
you who don't know.
suburbs, West County
We're
of
kind
St.
of an
Louis.
upper echelon area.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm like, why? So, you know what? I just asked the question. I was 16 again. I said, excuse me, but why are we delivering these washers and dryers to your house? And I just paused. And he cracks up laughing. He goes, no one has ever asked me that. But let me tell you, he said, you're delivering these to my house because I'm going to actually take these to my rental homes. And I said, rental homes? Rental homes? I said, yes. So what I've done, I've built a business by buying property and I rent some out. I buy them, I fix them up. Some I keep, some I sell. The ones that I keep, I have washers and dryers in there for my tenants. My tenants pay me to live in the homes that I have. And then they pay me the rent, and whatever the profit is actually is paying for my kids' college, is paying for my home that I'm living in now, and things like that. So we started going down the gamut of things that he has, and I'm sitting there and I said, so where do you go to work? I'm 16 now. Where do you go to work? He goes, I'm working right now. So I'm looking around. I was like, but where's your office though? I see it's in my house. Uh-huh. So you get up every day. You don't have to leave your home, and people send you money to live in the houses that you provide for them, and they pay for your kids' college, your schooling, and your cars and your house and things like that. That's what you do. Yep. I was like, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Oh my goodness!
And I wrote it down in a book, and I was just telling my wife a couple of days ago. I wish I hadn't lost. I had a spiral notebook. There was a blue spiral notebook, and I wrote my life down. And that was the first thing, that I wanted to acquire. It was my real estate portfolio, which I started. And actually, ironically enough, I wish I. The one thing I didn't do was to get his number. And this is what I'm teaching my son now. Hey, get that contact, right? Get that contact, because he actually could have been my mentor, because at that moment he lit a fire in me that has not gone out. That's been over 34 years, I guess now.
Yeah, that was about 1986 or so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was 86.
Mm-hmm.
So that fire is still here, and actually I am now um, revisiting that and starting that part of my business back up again. So yeah, so along the way I was able to start the first part of it, and start the investing. About, let's say, 16. I started when I was 28. And I said, wow, I wish I was able to reach out to that guy, because that was the motivation from that day, allowed me to start buying property at 28, and launched my business at that time. So that was the defining moment.
That is fantastic. That's part of the reason I wanted to do this series, is because I'm prayerful that these moments that you all share will inspire and influence others to hear these things, because
Mm.
we don't have enough fathers and uncles and neighbors and things like that, and
Mhm.
men who are speaking up and saying, hey, young fella.
Right. Right. True. That's very true. Very true.
And,
Very true.
back when we were growing up, you did have neighbors and you did have neighborhood and you did play with other kids or hang out with them and things. And so we
Hmm.
knew families. But, in
Hmm.
this day and age, people are pretty isolated in their
Right.
neighborhoods and things. And so where
Right.
do you get that learning if it's not directly in your house? So I think that is such a rich story.
Mhm.
And so, okay, so based on your experience
Mhm.
and your life today, what three pieces of advice besides getting his phone number would you give your younger self, if you could?
Well, that's besides that, that's already one.
Yes.
Two more.
Okay.
So my younger self. I think that listening, really, really listening to my father more, as because I heard him and he had a lot of wisdom, and I cherry picked what I wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But he gave me the full um, blueprint along
Mm-hmm.
the way that could have saved me a lot of pitfalls,
Mm-hmm.
um, had I really, really, really paid attention and focused.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second
Mhm,
before you get to the third one. So when you say really listening to him, what stopped you from really listening to him? I mean, because hindsight is 2020, right? So did
mhm.
you just think you knew it all? Did you think it didn't matter? I mean, what do you think was happening that caused you not to listen or and only to hear?
Well, I would say more so of yeah, just thinking that I knew it, right? I was making money, and I was making money without going to corporate America. I was making money on my own without having somebody give me a paycheck. When you're doing that, your late 20s, early 30s, that's a pretty good feeling
Mm-hmm.
when you're actually manufacturing dollars and no one's telling you when to come and go.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a sense of being a sense of pride that really is a false sense of pride because you lose the fact that you still need that mentor. That's why I asked you earlier who was that guy's mentor,
Mm-hmm.
because you still need that mentor not only to teach you but to actually keep you grounded too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easy and so and there's the story behind that grounding, being grounded that we can dig deep into, and it if you choose to go that way. I got a story for that one too, but yeah, so just having that mentor or someone that can really teach you as you're climbing up and being upwardly mobile and financially independent, that can help you keep moving forward without becoming arrogant, as most people would say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really arrogance. It's arrogant until you crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
Got a story for that one too.
Okay. Okay. So the third thing that you would tell your younger self.
The third thing that I would say to my younger self, the third thing I would say is more of a dual thing. First of all, study God's plan, and with God's plan will keep your financial plan in order through
Okay.
God's order,
Okay.
right? So God's plan will help your financial plan stay on track.
Okay.
So all of the above. So actually, I would put that number one. So if you stay with God's plan, everything else will fall in play.
Okay.
So that's what I would say to my younger self.
Okay. So, since we have a little extra time, I would love
Mm,
to hear about the crashing and burning and what you got out of that. So, if you can summarize, you said grounding, and
mhm,
then you said crashing and burning. So, you can
mhm.
pick one of those and tell us what happened, what was the moment, or what actually happened, and then tell us what happened as a result of it.
The crashing and burning. Let's talk about that one because that was a very heartbreaking, pivotal moment for me.
Okay.
So along the way, as I was building my business and things were going well, money was coming in, a lot of money was coming in. Go, I mean, it was going well, right?
Hmm.
Um, my father always would have these conversations. He's like, "Hey, man, I know things are going well, but you should really, really think about where you're putting your money.
Okay.
Make sure you got things to decide. This market's going to change one day. You need to be ready to capture the change. When things fall apart, you should need to be ready to, you know, there's a whole nother side of industry that you can capture if you just really put some money to the side and really, you know, I see you having fun, but you need to put some money to the side. Okay, great. So years went by, made money, did things, traveled, kicked it, had a great time, buying expensive clothes, having expensive meals, traveling all over the world. The market crashes in 2009.
Yes. Woo.
Here's where those lessons really kicked me in the butt.
Okay.
So before there were property preservation companies, banks were holding all of these properties, right? They're
Okay.
not property preservation. They weren't in the property business, so they didn't know what to do with them. So I had some buddies that were bankers at the time, and they were like, "Hey, man, I'm going to send you a list of all these properties that we have. We'll give them to you for 20 cents on the dollar if you just take them off of our plate." I would literally have blocks of properties that I could, if I had 20 cents on the dollar, I can just walk in there and take the entire block, and couldn't pull the trigger. And I had plenty of time. And I looked back at all the money that I just blew when my dad kept telling me, "Hey, there's going to be a time where you're going to make a really big move and you're blowing it right now. There's going to come a time and you're not preparing, son, but hey, I'm going to let you do your thing. You're not preparing, but I'm going to let you do your thing. There's going to come a time you're going to be able to make a move bigger than what you're doing, but you're not preparing for it. Like, all right, I got you, Dad. I got you. Phew, I'm off, the office, flying across the country again or somewhere, you know what I mean? And I think the most young people, if you watching this, I'm telling you, don't floss. Like I said, here it is. So right before that happens, I'm sitting in the Coliseum in Rome. I'm sitting down and I'm thinking I'm balling. I'm trying to strike a deal. Yeah, we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna make that happen. And we struck a deal while I was in Rome in the Coliseum.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Got a big check.
Okay.
Blew that check.
You right? Blew it.
Well, I'm gonna have fun with it. I mean, I put some money here, put some money there, but the market it was getting closer to that time.
Okay.
And if I look back on it, I could have had that money ready to go if I just kept building onto that nest egg and building onto that nest egg, right?
Yes.
So as that market came tumbling down and crashing, I multimillionaire right there on the spot. As that market crashed and that paper came across, all I had to do was strike a check. If I had just placed that money and done the things that my dad kept whispering in my ear, right up to 2009, I had 9 years to build that. That's the crash and burn.
Yes. Okay. So what did you do? I'm mad at you right now.
Here's what's interesting. So I'm sitting there. My business is my business closed, the door shut.
Okay.
Because a lot of my business now, because I diversified to more to the general contracting side, and it had turned more contractual. I can't even say it. I'm getting like frustrated now thinking about what happened then,
right?
Because my portfolio was more government business. Okay. So I had grown to where I was doing a lot of government business, right?
Okay.
Now government business is falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have a lot of private clients anymore. So my portfolio wasn't diversified like I used to have it. So now everything crashed. I'm sitting there bawling. I mean, a grown man, you want to see a grown man cry? Grown man crying, mm-hmm. Right? My baby's gone. Moneymaker's gone. I mean, 9 years of building this thing independent, all my money, mine. I made it. Talking to my dad. He goes, hey, son, so let me ask you this. He's like, let's talk about this for a second. Cool as a cucumber. And this is right before he passed away. He goes, let me ask you this. He goes, did you have fun when you were building it, right? Yeah, you had a ball, man, buying nice cars and clothes and all this stuff, traveling the world. Yeah. You had a little bit of fun when it was kind of going the other way, but you weren't really paying attention, but you had fun, right? Yeah. You said you lost it all, right? Yeah. You said, now you're a businessman. I bet you won't let that happen again. So that was the lesson behind that one.
Whoa. Rodney, this is fascinating. I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna I want to insert something. Yeah. I remember, we've known each other for years, and we do have a lot in common because our birthdays literally are 3 days apart. We literally, I'm literally 3 days older than you, believe it or not, and I think that's fantastic. But then also we have some traits in common. And I remember many years ago we talked, and I think I was sad over a relationship, and you gave me some advice. You said something about a man can never be available in a relationship if he doesn't have money in his pocket.
Something
right. Like that.
Something to that effect. Right. Yeah. So at the end of the day, a man can never be completely there in a relationship if he doesn't have the finances or the wherewithal to be able to provide, to be able to be that man for that woman. He'll never be there 100%.
Thank you.
If he's a man.
Yes. And I just wanted to bring that up because I'm so glad you came on. You have had a lot of defining moments in your life. I did not have a clue what you were going to talk about today. Never heard this story. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think someone is going to listen and they're going to say, you know what, maybe I should be listening more, or maybe I should get a mentor, or maybe I should look at how I'm not diversifying my money, or how I'm blowing it, how I'm having a great time. So I think it's really wonderful and fantastic. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you taking the time and sharing, and always, wanting the best for people. That's one thing that I can say. You've always been a very kind person. And though you are driven, you always have the best intentions, and you drive people to be their better selves. So I just want to thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share before we go?
I do. And for anyone that's watching, and this is coming from the entrepreneurial side, from the defining moments and things like that. So your defining moment, don't ignore it, because it's going to be very, very clear. It may not make sense to you, but it's going to it will hit you. It's going to be a moment that you're going to say, you know what? That felt kind of weird. That was really strange how that all lined up. And I would always say, make sure you get that person's contact, wherever that was. Yes. Whatever that defining moment was, whomever that was you were talking to at that moment, get that information.
Yes.
Contact them, build that relationship with them, because that you never know where that can go from there, right? Yeah. But you will know when that defining moment will happen. It may not be now, it may be later, but when it hits you as an entrepreneur, from that standpoint of view, you'll know it, and understand this, that perseverance piece. Again, my defining moment was 1986. This is 2022.
23.
It's still here.
Yes.
23, I'm sorry, 2023.
Yes.
Man, going nuts. 2023. And it's still here. Matter of fact, like I said, I just sat down with my attorney, my accountant, and my banker, so we can structure it so as we're starting 23 off in the real estate arena again. So I'm going back to my defining moment in 23. So perfect timing. Thank you, Jolena, for bringing me on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming, Rodney. I really appreciate it. And thank you for what you shared.
All right.